Hi guys, I hope you're well. Here we're going to look at the latest version of FEWD Studio. I've done some considerable updates, and it's time for you to get an update. You guys are rocking, I think it is 0.10.5 beta. I don't know which is UK or US beta. I've never known. I say beta. Anyway, so that's what you're rocking, and we're now going to release 11.1. Okay, so 0.11.1 beta. So I just want to say that the beta, it's testing community. Thank you very much for doing that. At this stage, there is need to sort of go, is this working out well? How does this sort of workflow work out? And just like refine those little bits. And the feedback coming back has been really great. So thank you for that. And it's been responded to. So this weekend I was going to be working more on Gen CSS, which as concept was working very well in a modal in FEWD. Okay, so the idea of a desktop CSS framework is I think is a great one, and like I say, it was working brilliantly. But the concept of what it should be, it could and should be, is just far bigger than something that should be tangled up in FEWD, and so it needs to be a companion app. Now it's doing what it was doing in FEWD, but I'm really getting into the CSS output and what it should be bringing to the table to do the heavy lifting for you in your projects. So still working on that, but I realized I was wrong for wanting to work on that on Gen CSS this weekend, when there's a lot of feedback coming back from a testing community who have been like, how does this work? Or this could be better, or this would help me out a little bit more. And even some people that haven't bought FEWD, that are just asking questions from what they see on YouTube videos. It's like, okay, fair enough. You got the experience, you got the questions. Need to respond to that. So Gen CSS is there, and that will be dealt with. It's on the way. But FEWD Studio should be responded to and be made better now for what it is. So in this video, you're going to see that there's a lot of response to things that have been communicated. So project creation, file connection, user interface, basically the experience that you can have. Obviously, again, it's an app. There are always going to be little smidgeny bugs and stuff like that. They'll always be worked on. But yeah, what I'm seeing across testing is that this is working and it's functional. I'm using it actually in my workplace, and it's doing the job as it was meant to do. We'll always try to make it better, So let's run through some of that. I will quickly say that FEWD was actually created to be an interface, a page builder type interface for desktop coding, to work alongside VS Code, where you would have larger project logic and AI integration with Claude in the terminal. That's what the idea was. Like you're working in VS Code with Claude, and then you want to do some actual design, design in code. And so you'd fire up FEWD and have this page builder experience and so it's sort of like a VS Code alongside companion add-on. As it happens, it's really working well, especially with the upgrades on this version. It's become an all-in-one tool. So you can now create a project from scratch. You can set up all of the files that you need. You can AI integrate with the use of the terminal, and then you are able to fire it all up to Git and deploy it for websites and all of that sort of stuff. It's an all-in-one tool. It's on the desktop and it will integrate with Gen CSS. So the entire process that you can have is I didn't think it would become so capable and start to finish of a project. But of course, the workflow is different. It's desktop coding with a page builder experience that requires a live save. Scary for some, and I'll talk quickly on that a little bit later, just to acknowledge that there's a fix for that coming up. But yeah, it's just important to remember that it's a page builder experience on your desktop. It's a live file editor, and that must be remembered. So save often, and remember what the purpose of the default panels are. So, just a caution, there is a thing about workflow and knowing as a user how it's working. Anyway, cool. Right, let's. I want this to be an all one take, and then I go and finish my weekend. Screen view, right? Yeah, put my face down there. So I've installed the latest version, which is 11.1, but I've already thought of a few fixes that I need to do, so I will get to them. The process of this is to download from Lemon Squeezy, download the latest version, replace that on Mac. It asks you if you want to replace it. I assume it's the same on the Windows. I haven't been able to test this today because I can't turn my Windows computer on. It's on, but it won't connect to the screen, and I'm like, I love Mac. So yeah, there is meant to be a Windows fix for the close, minimize, and max but icons. I can't check it. So testing community, please let me know how that's gone, and let me know how this version is functioning on Windows, because I can't turn mine on. Yeah. Anyway, the point is, you're still going to get that little security warning. This is where I'm at with that. My plan was to work with the testing community, that's you guys, and then knowing that there's demand for FEWD and knowing that it will pay for the code signing and all of that, I would go and get that done when we're out of the testing phase. But some people are... Wait, sorry, you're talking to a blue screen, so hi. Some people are experiencing struggles with the security warning on like later Macs, M5 Macs. I didn't know there were those. And so I'm feeling like, okay, I kind of need to get it signed sooner. This is where I'm at, though. It's a 2-week refund window. I would always honour that. I want to make sure that it's paying for itself. I've got family, work, and all that kind of stuff. So when I know that FEWD has brought some money in that won't be refunded, I'm happy to get the code signing done sooner than I planned. Just so people aren't experiencing that issue. So I'm going to bring that forward. I don't think I'll wait until the end of testing, just so that people aren't hitting that wall. But I need to be careful with finances, and I've put a lot of time, most of my Sunday into this, and I need to make sure that it's it's being a reason to stay away from my family, which anyway, sounded a bit sob story, didn't mean that. Just saying, I'm going to bring that code signing forwards, but I've got to be a sensible boy. Right, okay, so let's get this going. I'm going to open up FEWD. And yeah, just remember, just bop by that security warning. Nothing's going to kill you. and it will be gone soon. Okay, so when you open up FEWD, this is what we get. It's a start page. Okay, now this isn't how I was going to do it. I was thinking more modal or something along those lines, but Ray, you gave a little screenshot of what you thought, and I was like, yeah, panels, it looks quite good. And I was a little bit desperate to bring in a bit of the blue gradient that I have on the website anyway, so hopefully you guys like it. But yeah, we'll talk about components and things like that later, because components are what you have. It's what you actually build in Astro. It's not like components that you get in bricks and etch and things, where you make a component. It doesn't really work like that in these. That's more about how you set up your files, and for why FEWD was created, to be honest. But yeah, I do have an idea on that anyway. But we'll talk about that later. Anyway, so what we have now is recent projects, okay? So if you click this, then it starts up like it used to, okay? Nice and blank. You set your project directory, whatever you want to do. That's fine. Recent projects, though, if you click on this, it's just going to fire up where you were before. We've got a confirmation click, open project, and away you go. Everything's connected, should be connected where it was before, all right? So that's pretty cool. Now down here we have this little plus icon, and if we click on that, we go back to that sort of projects page. I call it the startup page, but it's not always that, is it? But start new project page, I suppose. I just want to say, just to keep things clean and to make sure it isn't having an issue with carrying panels across, just disconnect it. It's just easier if you can think, yeah, I'll disconnect that. And maybe then this is better to be down here. Actually, yeah, cross, and then thing is, you don't want to accidentally disconnect a thing on Etch. Is where you can add or edit the page, or right next to it, it's got the bin, and I've binned a couple of pages, and I've been like, what? And I think that could happen there. Anyway, so disconnect the project and then plus, okay? And we go back to this. You can go to another recent project, or we can start a new project. And this is what we need to have a little look at together. All right, so I'm going to set project directory, and that's wrong wording. I'll think about it, but it's not actually setting project directory, but it's setting the project, setting the folder where you want to put a project. So I'll change the wording. Where would you like to put the project or something? But yeah, we're going to put it in this beta testing. Okay, so I'm going to click open, but of course it really means select. And then what we need to do is add a project name. So Brill project, okay, no spaces, helps you with the terminal later, you will regret it otherwise. And then create HTML project, click that, and we've got index HTML, style CSS, global CSS, and app.js, and then of course our assets. So all of our default panels are all set up and ready to go, and server's ready. Okay, let's actually have a look at what we've got in this. Okay, so this is a folder that we set to put our project in, and we've just created Brill project. Okay, it's created the folder and then created the files that you need. All right, so automated project setup. Okay, cool. Let's disconnect from that one. Let's plus, and instead we're going to set project directory. All right, we just need to make sure we're putting it in the right one. Okay. Easy to do. Please just go for that. And then instead of doing this one, which is HTML project only, we've set the project directory. Okay, this is where we want to place our project, and then we click new Astro project. Now Astro is installed via the terminal. That's how you do it if you go to Astro. And so what that does is fires up the terminal and starts the process. So I'm going to I'll maximize this so you can see it a bit better. So where should we create a new project? So this is actually the project folder. So Astro project. Okay, and then hit enter, and this is the Astro experience as you might have experienced it before. Don't know if you've done it. So yes, let's go no. Let's just keep it nice and swift. From this point, this is terminal, your machine, and the Astro installation, but you're obviously just doing it through FEWD. Go away, fly. This is a one-take video because I need to go and have a glass of vino or something. So yeah, you've got my fly murder in. I should get all karate kid, shouldn't I? Get the chopsticks. Cool. Yeah, we're good. Okay. That's happy going. Okay, now this is the so if we ls, you're going to see there's the Astro project. It's all created, and then we have to pop into that one. So cd into it. Where are my glasses? Okay, and then npm run dev. Okay, hit that one, and that fires up the server. Should be on 4321. We're ready to go. We're ready to go. Sometimes we. Oh, okay. This is something I need to tend to. Yeah. Okay. So I will tend to that. But if it doesn't fire up, and just sometimes it hasn't, paste that in. Okay. Another thing, by the way, is that if you've already got your server, you've been using that for Astro or anything like that, the number might be different. It might be 4323. And that's just because you've got it all in use somewhere else on your machine, in which case just edit that and it would fire up. But yes, despite that little glitch there, we've got full Astro setup. Now, from this point, it is a case of connecting to our template. And, some things are manual because, you do need to go and select your file, and then it goes into framework mode so that we're Astro safe, or, disco mode should you want. Okay. Cool. Yeah. Oh, that's another bug that was fixed. So, if you clicked framework mode, it could go into creative, and that could endanger your file, which we don't want. Okay, cool. So that is the new Astro setup, which is, yeah, pretty cool. Pretty happy with that one. Yeah, I'm going to close down that terminal. Yeah, nice. Okay, let's. I've disconnected. Let's open up a recent project just so that we can have a look at this. Okay, open up the JS test one. I love this one. ChatGPT gave it to me. Now I'm going to minimize those a little bit, and now we're going to have a look at. Some of you might have noticed that the operations bar is over on the right here. I'm annoyed at myself because I should have put it back so that you would do the reveal right now. But a lot of requests have come in about the interface, and that's absolutely fair enough. It was on the list anyway. And this is where I was like, this is one of the things where I was like, oh, I can do Gen CSS, or I can make it as it should be here in FEWD. So if you click on the icon, the preferences icon here, we have a few options. We can move the operations bar, put it on the right, or if we uncheck it, it's going to go back to the left. We can also move the structure panel, so left or right. You can have them both on the same side. Yeah, if you want, figure out this setting, and yeah, have them both on the right. That's perfectly fine. We also have. I'll explain the AutoConnect index file in a second. Well, I'll explain that now, actually. That's a functionality one. So if you go through the manual process and you set a project directory, it's going to check if there's an index or an Astro, and it will auto-connect to the template here. That was the first step in just, better project link up. But yes, it still exists. This one I'll explain in just a moment after we've done preferences and interface. So layout, obviously, you can jiggle this around, make it how you like it. Then we have, let's look at the high contrast. If we check this, we get a higher contrast on the text and the icons. Okay. All right. So yeah, that's going to help a lot of people. I've ended up with that generally turned on. It is nicer. So I get why people were saying, it's all a bit faded. Fair enough. Interface size, if we put that to large, you'll see that the title text and everything on the interface are going large or larger. But yeah, so make that how you like it. And then before we do the colors, we've got typography in the actual editor. So, you can go to large or larger again, which I used to work with kids, so I just make up silly words. There we go. Okay, cool. And that takes effect, by the way, in the expanded modals as well. Okay. All right, back to, where's my bar? Back to preferences. Right, okay, cool. Now, for those that really want to go disco, we've got some color changes that you might want to make, okay? So, panel color, you can do what you want with this. All right, see what combos you can make that are utterly disgusting. All right, yeah, the world is your oyster. Oh, then we've got border color, so we can go purple here. Whoosh. Yeah, cool. Let's go yellow. Oh my. Yeah. Okay, so anyway, you get the idea of this. You can make it how you want it to be. I just ended up going with like, well, if you want that, you can have that. Bear in mind, it's on the modals as well. Okay, so yeah, do it how you like it, really. And if you realize you made a mistake, hit reset and it resets. So I'm probably more of the mind of I'll just darken the black a little bit. Some of you might want to arrange a bit of a light mode. Maybe you like working like that. Yeah, I don't know. It's it'd be interesting to see what you guys do with it to make it how you like it, really. But yeah, something quite interesting and retro about this kind of look as well, which, you know, I don't know, up to you. Right, okay, so those are the interface changes that are there. You can make your environment as you want it to be. I hope that really helps you guys. Okay, cool. So let's quickly talk about, and I'm going to disconnect this one and pop along to, I'll just demo this actually without connection. So what's this fella here? Okay, so this was a development of my Gen CSS research, and so some people, and this has been my practice in the past, would have been, you get your div container and you might put a container class on them, and then that's what you might attach to your content width variable, so that as you change that throughout the site, you know, that it does that. But what you can do is, if you toggle this to on, which it would be on and should be on by default, I'll double check that. Yeah. When you add a section, the div inside it is going to have this value here as an attribute, so content container. That's going to be compatible with Gen CSS, because part of Gen CSS's variables would be, or base reset values, would be to attach the content width variable, site width essentially, to this attribute. And what that means, that's how you would tie it up, so that if you change your site width, it's going to change on all of the containing divs. Okay, so this is how we do that. If you don't have Gen CSS, if you're not going to have Gen CSS, you can keep this toggled on and just be sure to put this into your actual global style sheet. So it would look something like, sorry, what was it called again? Content container. So it would look something like, oh, what am I doing? Content container. Okay, and it's going to be width 100%, max width, var content width. That's your site width, and then inset 0 and blah blah blah. All right, so that's what that looks like in your globals, and that will attach to. No, cancel that. And that will attach to this. Okay, so completely up to you. But if you don't want to use that, you know, this one specifically, or you don't want to do that in your globals, you might want to check it off just so you don't have bumpy stuff in your HTML. Okay, cool. So I'm going to move on really quickly here. So let's connect to a project. I'll just disconnect that because it's actually a fictitious one. And I don't actually know what I call it now I'm thinking of it. So actually, let's test this one out. So set project directory. This is as we were before. This one, build project. As I click that, it's going to attach automatically to the index HTML. That's cool. This is the old method, obviously. And then connect to the globals. Not that we need that. Okay, this is just so that I can show you. Let's bung in a hero here. Okay, this is just so that I can show you if I open up VS Code. Okay, so we've got VS Code here, and I just want to do this to, you know, just explain a couple of bits about how FEWD is working, and just so that it helps people in their workflow, or what you should expect from how it's working. Okay, so just want to share again that there was talk about, you know, what's it doing with my HTML? It blanks it out and things. Right, that's why we have component and full HTML. So in component mode, there is a ghost HTML document that helps the preview. Okay, but in full HTML, if you keep an eye on this, which we're connected to now, if we go full HTML, it adds in the HTML document. So if you want the output to be the HTML document, you need to be in full HTML mode. FEWD was actually created. My idea was for creating components within my Next and Astra projects. And it's just that then I realized, oh, sometimes I might want a full HTML document. So this was actually the afterthought. But, you know, that's what you need to know about component full HTML mode. When you're in HTML mode, you have the panels down here. All right, so watch, they disappear. Okay, and that's so that you can click on this and edit the head section. So you would you might have other assets that you want to link in, and you're preparing on your file, and you would be like link blah blah blah, and then apply, and obviously it's going in there and it shouldn't. That's terrible. But yeah, so this is a save before you apply changes. It's a manual save. And then you've got the same for before the body. Okay, so if we apply that as well, you're going to see that appear just before the body tag. All right, so that's why it was good to show VS Code, show you and create awareness that this is a live editor. All right, so not in this case, it's a manual save, but it's a direct file editor. That is the idea of FEWD. But in this mode, obviously, everything is automatic, and that's something to consider. And this is something that, whilst doing all of the updates this weekend, I actually forgot that I was going to look into making a manual save even in creative mode, because this was created so that it would be a live update preview. And you've got the structure tree, but the direct access with the code. What I've realized that some people would actually want, even though it's not what I thought of in the beginning, is a manual save even on creative mode. So that is on the way this week. In honesty, I forgot to get that going because I was doing all of the interface stuff and the project setup. But you have been heard. That will be on the way, and so you would be able to choose, and it would be in preferences functionality to enable manual saving in creative mode, and that would be where the live preview doesn't update until you click save somewhere. And I think I would like it to be a save somewhere to update all panels. So yeah, that's something to consider there. That is on the way, and that means that you've got the manual save, but you still have use of the structure tree and everything for HTML projects. Just another note, just because I forgot to say it, someone also mentioned about focus colors when you're editing a panel to put the focus on it. I have no idea why that isn't working, but that one specifically, because all of the others do, or they did. I think I'm being a bit too clap happy. My computer's screaming at me. So let me know how that goes. But all of these have been... Oh, it's not connected. Yeah, all right. It's not actually connected. Oh, well, no, it is. Shit. I don't know. Anyway, the function's there. I'm sorry if there's a little bit of a bug. But yes, that's it's all rocking and rolling, really. So hopefully you guys are feeling that, one, that you're being careful, but two, that these changes are good and positive and help you make better use of FEWD. So yeah, like I say, I've got to, I've put hours into this today, and I've got to make sure that there's actually demand for FEWD, that people do want to use it, and got to get more to, I suppose, marketing to test that. So yeah, the more anyone is mentioning this to people, or fire up some tutorials or whatever, chuck them on YouTube, just bit of exposure would go a long way, and if you've got some reviews to throw my way that I can put on the site, that would be really helpful as well. But yeah, it's feeling like it's got a whole project start to finish thing about it now. It's very usable, even if some people are like, I don't know about the workflow yet, or some things are there to be refined. But to be honest, I feel like it's a pretty solid bit of kit right now, and I'm personally using it in my own projects. So yeah, a lot of fun. So upcoming is obviously a couple of things that I mentioned there about the functionality I'd like to sort out. So the manual save in creative, and a couple of little bits that I want to refine. Bit of testing on Windows, and Gen CSS is on the way, and as a companion app, so really excited about that. Until next time, guys, I hope you have a good weekend. I hope your week starts really well. Yeah, look forward to your comments, and yeah, have a good one.